All right, guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Money/Economy plugin, MoneyNote/Economy plugin. So, in this episode, we're going to be working on the models and the handlers for the MoneyNote itself. So, this is basically what I showed you at the end of the last episode. We're going to be creating the object that's going to represent a MoneyNote, and we're going to create a handler class that handles the creation and everything related to the MoneyNote object. So with that being said, I'm going to be starting by let's go ahead and create a package, and we're going to call this models, and we're going to create a class called MoneyNote. So this class is going to represent a MoneyNote. Now, if we look at it, if we go back into Minecraft, correct, we see that a MoneyNote has essentially, we're not going to be looking at the display name because that's going to be more on the creation of the item stack. We're more looking at what MoneyNote contains, what it's going to be, each MoneyNote is going to have. Each MoneyNote is going to have a value and a signer. Few things, it's pretty simple, a value and a signer. So what we're going to do here is just create variables that's going to store those values. So we're going to do private final int. We're going to have the value or an amount, and then we're going to have private final string, which is the signer. And then with that, we're gonna create the constructor. It's gonna have the value, and it's gonna have the signer that we're gonna pass in. We're gonna do this dot value, and we're gonna set it to the value, and we're gonna do this dot signer, and we're gonna set it to whatever we pass in. And then we're gonna click into this space here below, and we're gonna generate, and we're gonna get getters, and we're gonna do control and to select both of them. Click OK, and now we got some getters for these values. So essentially, this is what a MoneyNote object is gonna be. Nothing more to it. It is that simple. Again, we have only two things that a MoneyNote is going to represent: the value and the signer. All right, so the next thing is we're going to go here and create a package called API, or we're going to call it handlers. API handlers, same thing. We can just create a class. We're going to call it MoneyNoteHandler or MoneyNote API, whatever you want to call it. All right, guys, I'm back, and before we continue, we need a way to get the player balance. So with this plugin, we're gonna be using the Vault API and assume that we have a balance plugin, and in this case, it's gonna be Essentials, because Essentials has its own bal. This is different. This is my custom version of it, but we're gonna use the Essentials balance, and to do that, we're gonna need this. So here, this link is gonna be in the description to the GitHub, and what we need to do is add this to our Gradle repositories and dependencies. So we're just gonna copy this. We're gonna go to build.gradle, and we're gonna put it right under here. We're gonna go back to it, copy this one, put it right here. Then we're gonna add at the end, we're just gonna do the reload button here, and this should work. Oh, my bad, don't do that. I did not copy this, my bad. So now that we make sure that this one is dependencies, this one is repositories, and we're gonna build this again. So when you put it in, you just go over here, task, build, and then build successful. Great. So next we're gonna go back to the GitHub and we're gonna scroll down. So we're gonna need an economy variable. So we're gonna just copy. It's just a lot of copying. Go to your main class and we're gonna put that in. Go ahead and import the class from Vault API. Then we're gonna need we're not using permissions, we're not using chat. We're gonna need a setup economy, which is this. We're gonna need this, and I believe we're going to need not the chat, not the permissions. We're going to need, that's a command. First let's go and get this. This is how we're gonna get the variable. So it's just a ghetto. We're gonna go back and we're gonna need to copy this into our unenable. Sorry about that. So we just copy that and we're gonna forget about the log for now. And instead of doing the log, we're just gonna do a console print and say something like Vault API balance plugin not found. Basically checking to see if your server has any balance plugin that's supported with the Vault API. So instead of using the log thing that was there, we're just gonna print to the console the old-fashioned way. And this doesn't matter because that's the end of the our method, our unenable method. But if you have anything below, you just want to return. So we're just gonna keep it there because it doesn't really matter. All right, guys. Now that we've done this, we can go back to the MoneyNoteHandler class that we created, and you can see we have 3 initial method that we're gonna work on right now. And so yeah, let's get into it. So I'm gonna zoom it in a bit for you guys. The first method, you can see it's called createMoneyNote, and it's gonna use the MoneyNote object or the model that we created here. It's gonna use the information passed in, and we're gonna create an item stack, which is gonna be representing the MoneyNote, which is this. So this is the method that's gonna be creating this, the item stack. So you can see it has the to do, create and return a MoneyNote item stack. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. So the first thing I like to do is just work with the item meta, the information for the meta for the item stack. So the first thing being the display name. So we're just gonna create a string, and we're gonna use the utils.color, and we're gonna call it like MoneyNote, and it has right click. So the MoneyNote is in green and it's bold. So let's just go ahead and do that. MoneyNote and 7 right click, believe that's how it is. Gonna end that statement there. Yeah, right click. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do the low, which is gonna be a string array. So we're just gonna do low, work on that. So again, we're gonna do utils.color, and it's going to be light purple, I think. And we're gonna have the value, then we're gonna have the, I believe the value itself is in, yep, it's in white. And remember, it's formatted. You can see the value of 1 million here. It's gonna be formatted, that being it's gonna have the commas separating the the zeros. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So we're gonna do and f, we're gonna come outside, do a plus, and then we're gonna do utils dot formatted balance, which is one of the method that we created. And we're gonna use the money note, because remember the money note is passed in as a parameter here, so we're gonna just use that to get the value. And now this method that we created is gonna format to whatever value it is and make it look pretty right here for the first line of the low, sorry. And next we're gonna do the second thing, which is the sino. So again, we're gonna utilize the color method, and we're gonna do and D for light purple, and we're gonna do sino. And then the sino, I believe, is in light gray, not white. So let's double check. Yep. And this way we can just do MoneyNote.get sino. We're gonna end this the low, and we're just gonna create the item stack now. We're gonna call it MoneyNote item stack. It's a long name, but it'll do. We're gonna do again utils dot create item, and then we're gonna pass in the display name. Not the display names, it's always the material first. So we're gonna do paper, so material dot paper, display name, and then the low, and that's it. Now we're just gonna change this return type to the money note, and bam, we can leave this, delete this, sorry, and then that's it for this method. All right, let's go straight into the second method. So the second method is just an easy way to get the player's balance without using the method from the economy. So you don't have to do this, but if you just want to follow along, you can do this. So we can go ahead, and now that we just added this, which is the economy, we can use the get economy method here that's static. We can access it from any class to get the player's balance. So we're gonna just go straight into the return, do get, we're gonna do main dot get economy dot get balance, and then we're gonna do it takes a player. So I don't believe we can use a UUID. So I think what we're gonna do is create a player object instance of using the UUID, call it player, and to get that we just use bucket.getPlayer and then pass the UUID. And I believe if we just do that, nope, that doesn't work. Oh, it does work. It just returns a double, so we gotta use a double instead of an integer. That would be fine. So now we can get, instead of you doing all of this every time we need to get the player balance, we can just use get player balance here, and it will get the balance for us. Next, the get amount. You can see this method now it's gonna return the actual amount in MoneyNote item stack is valued at. So this method is gonna take the item stack that's representing any item, any money note on the server, and it's gonna return the value of that item stack. So we need to get the value there. So what we're gonna do that is we're gonna start by just initializing an amount to 0, and then we're gonna get the item meta, because remember this is a part of the item meta, because it's being represented within the low of the item itself, which is in return the item meta, a part of the item meta. So we're gonna need to get the item meta, so we're gonna do item meta. We're gonna go ahead and make sure you import that, and then we're gonna do money note. You see we have it passed there, so we're just utilizing it directly from what's passed in. Get item meta. That's simple. Next, we're gonna get the value low. Remember, if we look up here, the low is consisted of it's all right. So if you see up here, the low is basically a list or an array of strings. So we need to get the specific line within the array that represented the value. And if you remember up here, by just looking at it, it's the first one. So we're not gonna get the entire low, we're gonna specifically target this. So to do that, we're gonna do value low is equal to item meta dot get low. As you can see, get low is, again, it's returning as list of strings. So we're just gonna get 0, which is representing the first one. If we wanted the signal, it would be 1 for the second one. It starts at 0 when we're indexing. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do this low data value, and we're gonna split this. I'll explain this after. So what this is doing is we're creating a new array, string array, because we're gonna split the value low that we have here using a space, because if you remember, it'll be easier to look here. So the value, if we're looking at just the value low, right, which is the first line for the low, you can see it's separated. It has the word value, a space, a white space that is, and then the value itself, which is the integer. So we're gonna split it using the white space, and now this is gonna represent basically two strings, which is the first one being value and the second one being the value itself, which is 1 million, like this. So that's gonna be the second string when we split it, and the first one is gonna be value. That makes sense. So now that we have that, we can now we don't have to think about value, but we want this one. So to do that, what we're gonna do, create a string. We're gonna call this the amount, string amount. Let's do string amount. And then we're gonna do utils.stripcolor. Again, we're gonna utilize this method that we use, which is gonna strip the color, because technically this string, it has the bucket color code symbols attached to it. So we need to strip it so we get just the value, the string itself. That's just something that we need to do. So to do that, we're gonna do low data 1 substring, and we're gonna do 1, and I'll explain what this is doing in a sec. And then after that, we're gonna do number format. Just call it number format dot get number instant. All right, so I'm here in the future just to explain this a bit better than what I did. So with this statement here, we are using the strip color to essentially get rid of the bucket chat color, because within coding, whenever we use the bucket chat color, it attaches random symbols that it's gonna use within the hood to use the specific color codes that we pass in. So we need to strip it, which is what we're doing there. And then when we strip it, this second thing here is basically, if you remember up here with low data, we're separating the value itself, the word value, and then whatever the amount is on the second half. So like I said up here, where is it? Sorry. So it's gonna have value and then this. So this is basically indexing the second part, which is going to give us this, which is 1,000,000 in this example. And then after we index that, if you notice, it has a money symbol here. We don't need that because with an integer in coding, we can't have symbols within our integer. So with this second part, now that we've got indexed the actual string amount, including the money symbol, we need to use substring, which is, and then we're going to pass in an index that we want to begin with at. So essentially that's going to take this and start at 1, because 0 would be represented by the 0 index will be represented by the money symbol itself, but instead we're going to exclude that and get everything after that, which is 1, 000, 000, and that's going to give us the string amount. So at this point we would have 1, 000, 000, and then, like I said, I'm in the future, we're gonna continue from there. So that's it. All right, it's me from the future again. I lost footage of me writing this code, so I'm just gonna explain it. So now that I explained this, we just create an object or a number format object, and then we're gonna update the amount that we initialized to 0 up here. And we're just gonna use, now that we have the string amount, which is basically, let's put it here, gonna be something like this. Let's use the 1,000,000 as an example still. Oh, my bad. It's gonna be this, something like this. It's gonna be an integer, but it's gonna have the commas still. So before we can use this to get to initialize the amount to the actual amount, we got to remove these commas. So we're going to use the number format object instance, and then we're going to use pass, which is what we're going to use to get rid of the commas. So what we're going to do, we have the string that we're going to use, dot replace, first argument, the first parameter is going to be the target, which is what we want to remove or replace. We put the comma. Second thing, which is an empty string, that's how we're going to remove it. And then after it removes all the commas from the string, we're going to turn it into an integer value so that we can store it in the amount. And then we're going to try it, because every time we do these type of things, when we're passing data, we need to try, and then in the event of an exception, we're gonna catch it, and then we're gonna throw an exception, a runtime exception. But that's in the worst case. That shouldn't happen. And then we're gonna return the amount. So yeah, that's basically it. Let's get back to the video. All right, guys, so with that being said, now that we finished this class, we're going to end it here. Shorter episode. In the next episode though, we're going to be working on the actual commands so that we can get this bad boy and we can see it in action, so we can see what we've worked on here and here with the MoneyNote model itself, and then using the handler to create money notes and like get the amount from the money notes and etc., like get the balance. So we're gonna do that, like I said, in the next episode. Thank you guys for keeping up with the series. Go ahead and leave a like and comment and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys then.